All right. Looks like Twitch is working for us for now. Wasn't working earlier. And I'm still getting that warning. You know, I should actually grab... I'm posting to Twitch, but I don't know if I'm going to get Twitch texts. Stream manager. Here it is. Cool. Awesome. I'm popping this out. Thank you. Pop out the chat. Okay. All right. So we are going to wait a little bit. Also, because Twitch is down for quite a few people. Looks like we're still able to stream. I should also probably close the number of tabs I have. Can you guys hear me okay? I'm not getting much from Twitch. Where's Twitch? I don't know if I even have anybody on Twitch right now, but I've got this. I've got the Twitch chat up. Ooh, you know what? Maybe I can change the photo. Absolute chaos. All right. Oh yeah, changing that to pants. Now we have pants. So for those of you who are following along, please download the pant pattern that I've provided for you in the description of the YouTube channel box. Email. We have so many places. Where am I? I'll throw it. It's also from the Discord. I will put that in the chat for everybody. Beginner stream. I don't know why people aren't commenting in the stream, but whatever. Testing. Okay. It looks okay. So we'll be making pants today. And then we'll be doing some edits to those pants. Severe edits to those pants. And we'll wait a little bit just because I know people are probably going to discover that Twitch is having problems today. Eh. So today we're doing those pants again. Has anyone actually posted? I wish I could see the projects you're working on. I want to see them now that this is the last day. You guys better tag us so at least so I can find them. On the social medias. I forgot that one of it, dude. And I should check. YouTube. Oh, good. Sci-fi themed outfits. Well, the problem is I keep just making them all gray or like teal. That's the one problem with those outfits. Like, I'll make them teal again. Me. You know what's sci-fi to me? Teal. I don't know why I keep doing it. I think it's funny. Because I just keep doing it without meaning to. Teal or just blacks. Black and gray. Black and gray colors. And I'm just like, why am I doing this? Because I've done some sci-fi themed outfits, but the other thing is that we can do more of those. But you guys need to get your basics down. This is the first stream you're watching. Okay, you're following a Udemy course. So just so you know, we don't have any... There's only one person who I'd recommend. Who's made that course? I don't know who's made that course, but there's no official courses that we recommend people follow along. There's only one person that I do know who knows best practices for Marvelous Designer that I would recommend, who's doing a course. But just so you know, there are no official authorized courses for Marvelous Designer. Yeah, I don't know that person whatsoever. Some are good, some are not, though, so just keep an eye on that. Okay, so long as you're learning something, I cannot recommend courses from people who I don't know their work. Just don't get scammed. I've seen a couple of scams, so just so long as you're not getting scammed. Because we provide all of these for free. These ones are all free. They are beginner courses, obviously. Because a lot of people just don't know the basics of how to get started. And so I'm trying to really hammer that home so that we can actually get to working on other cooler things. But basics. So for this being your first stream, this is part 3 of 3. You can make the pants and follow along with making the pants, but we have kind of already made the shirts and the shirt blocks. So we've already made all the tops. So if you're going to follow along, go to the description box of the video that you're commenting on, Austin. Go to the description and click the link, and then the pattern is there. And that's what we're using today. So you'll be able to make the pants. That's all that you'll have, because you need to have the previous items for you see the little shirts up there. So I hope everybody brought the same computer they were on last time. I hope everyone's prepared in this class. We're giving it a couple minutes before we start to actually start again. I will go over the basic tools for pattern making, because we are tracing an image, which is what I've provided for you all. Let's see what else. I anticipate this class to be much smaller because it's three build upon courses. We will also not end in this pose. We'll end in one of the basic default poses. This one is from Mixamo that I used for the ad for their photos. But we're just going to be using what is available in the software to change the pose. I'm not about to ask everyone who's brand new to Marvelous Designer potentially to figure out how to import FBX and Mixamo, who may or may not have ever used a 3D software before. To be kind to the new users. But these are the pants we're going to make. It's all default textures. Things that are available in Marvelous Designer 11, which is what I'm using. We're using Marvelous Designer 11. And I believe that is going to be a generic denim. But I did change it. Denim Raw. Oh yeah, I changed the backside. Oh yeah, I forgot. You guys may or may not struggle with this, but we are rolling a hem on these pants. It's been a while since I've made this since I made it, but we're rolling those pants up. So prepare yourselves. We'll give it a little bit, and then we'll get going. I mean, we're technically rolling the pants. I'm doing it an easy way for people who are new, who've never potentially done it, to be as successful as possible. Hello, welcome in. Make sure that you have your pattern downloaded. It is in the description box. Dead stare. It is in the description box. Stares at the camera. Making sure. I've got Twitch up just in case it's broken. And we will get started. Are they dark? Whatever. Yeah, so this is going to be a little challenging. You've been warned. Why am I a gray bar? Not the right gray. Close enough. All right. Let me reset my window. If anything ever gets lost, if things get confusing, you can reset your window in this bottom right-hand corner. You've seen me do it a bunch of times on these streams. I always recommend it, especially if you're using Marvelous Designer 11 and you can pop out all your windows and you might lose something. So as always, we're bringing in one of the male avatars. Oops. I'm going to pick a different one today. I'm going to pick this one. They're all the same size, so it's fine. All right, we've got our avatar. And today we are going to put pants on him. We're making pants today. We've already made our shirt and our sweater, and we'll put that on him later. But first we are making those pants assets. So I'm closing my library. I don't really need it right now, because right now we are making our pants and we're tracing a pant pattern this time. You have all downloaded this pant pattern that is available in the description box of this video. Oh, and before I forget, hi guys, for those of you who are new, I'm Meg, I'm with Marvelous Designer, and I am a 3D designer community manager and the Discord mod, so be nice on the Discord if you join our Discord. Links are in the description box. The software we're using is Marvelous Designer. If you ask me what software we're using, don't. It's Marvelous Designer. It's the name of the channel. I'm going to be spicy if you keep asking me these questions. So, we have our avatar, and I have expected you to download that file. So we are going to bring our pattern into our workspace as an image in the background. I do know some people like to bring in images as textures. I personally don't like that just for when I'm tracing a single pattern. So I'm going to right-click in the 2D window and choose Add Background Image. My little window will pop up saying Add add background image, image file, and I have kind of scaling options. We're not going to mess with those just yet. I'm going to select this little folder icon. And I've prepared my pattern. You all have this pattern. You have access to this pattern. It is in the description box. Download it. So we're going to import this into our workspace by selecting it and choosing open. And it's going to be ginormous, absolutely ginormous. It is too big for this guy. I'm going to make this 30% opacity just so we can see the scale. Too big for him. Let's make this 50%, and we'll check this. So this does fit the custom, this does fit our base avatars. So I know for sure that this fits. I just need to change the scale percentage to get it to fit him. So looking at this, this is my center front line on this pant, and then here's his hip. Oh, let me 10. Here's his hip, and it is way too big. This is still half the size that it should be. Half, 200%-ish. We'll go down to 40. So here's also how you can size your pattern if you have one. Still too big. We do need some account for the turn of cloth around his body, but this is still far too much. Let's do 30%. So this is also how you can check it if you don't know. Because sometimes that just happens when you're saving images and converting them, is you just need to rescale them. So this would be where his rise is, and it goes this way. It looks like 30 is really close. We could do 30 or 31. I'm going to try 31%. And I'm selecting OK. And it brings it into my workspace. I did leave it at the 10% opacity for everyone to see. I'm going to bring it back up to 30% opacity. I just right-clicked again in the 3D window, 2D window. So I am going to just hide my 3D window for a little bit so we can all see. So I have my pants here just as a non-interactable background image, which is great. I can't mess it up as easily as I might if it was an actual pattern. So to get started, for those of you who are following along and are like, this is your first time seeing this stream and it is part 3, I'm going to do this for you. We are going to use the pattern tools or the polygon tools here. Yeah, this is a PNG. It's a PNG file. I don't recommend it because you're also just not using it for much. I just changed the opacity. This is a PNG file though. So again, we're using the polygon tools. You can just press the H hotkey and we are going to trace our pattern. Those of you who have been following along since part 1, you know these tools. Selecting once with the left click and Control creates curve points. Backspace undoes one step of your pattern creation. So we're going to go ahead and trace this. I'm zooming in. You sometimes don't have to. I like to zoom in when it has more complex curves like this. But yeah, just in case, Robert, you just asked, this is a PNG file that you would be downloading already. Like, this is a PNG file. So making my curve point, I'm just tracing the curve of this pant. Interior line, exterior line, or center of the line, whatever you pick, just make sure that you're consistent throughout the entire process. Oh, it was a PNG. But yeah, it's an image file. You can even do TIFF. So again, I'm just tracing, holding Control to make my curve points. Letting go of Control to make segment points. I know a lot of you love Bezier curves, but especially here, it is not the best to use Bezier curves. And once you close your polygon, in this case, my front pant pattern, it will become white. I'm going to add with an X hotkey a segment point right here just to make sure that this is straightened. You can see that this is going into the pattern itself. I don't want that, so I'm going to right click that line and choose delete all curve points. Oh, weird, it is a JPEG. Yeah, it was saved as a PNG. And we're going to do that for all of these. So again, I'm holding Control to make these curve points. And you can create as many control or curve points as you want. It does help keep your pattern pretty clean for when you're segment sewing. And that's going to be important here in a minute, especially with what we're doing to this pattern. So as you saw, this pattern is pretty wrinkly on one side for the pants in the final image, and it's not wrinkly on the interior of the pant. So we are going to have to create that. And this is also where a lot of people don't know how to make wrinkles properly, and then it kind of looks funky. So we're going to be doing it the hard way. It's the most difficult way to do wrinkles on pants. So again, tracing. And these are all on the half. Just going to make life easy. So once you have traced your patterns, make sure just to clean it up if you need to. I'm using the C hotkey to adjust where necessary, or you can use the V hotkey as well, which is the specific curve point creation tool. Come here. I'm just cleaning this up because there's not a consistent level of outline here, and I'm just checking it while you guys finish tracing. Okay, well, I'm done with my pattern. Again, I have traced this, moving them. So we can see I've traced this image that I brought into the workspace. So long as it's an image file, it'll work. It gives you options when you're selecting your input options in the window. Let me know. I'm going to give you guys a little bit to trace, and then we're going to go ahead and move on with some sewing. And then some pattern creation, because these are super basic pants. These are supposed to be jean bases, so they are going to be tighter fitting than the generic pant. So just keep that in mind. Flopping around. Okay. I'm going to assume you guys are all done and you're ready. So we're going to sew these pattern pieces together. This is on the half, but this will help us later. So I'm popping out my sewing tools. Here are my sewing tools. I'm going to be using the segment sewing tools because I expected most of you to not have used a bunch of segment points. So segment sewing tool is sewing between those two segment lines and those two segment points here. So side to side, leg to leg, and then we are sewing the waistband to the pants. So this is the front of the waistband. Holding shift with my segment sewing tool, it makes this go from blue to green. It is showing me that I can now attach more than one line to the parent single line. So this is one to end sewing. Making sure to keep my notches in the same direction. I'm sewing them together. And we are not doing any simulating yet. Here is where we are going to go and move from sewing because we're pretty much done. We're going to use the transform pattern tool or the A hotkey. Select all of our patterns and Control D. So we are creating a symmetrically linked pattern piece for each one. So I've got a right side and a left side. We do have a couple more lines of sewing to do. So using the N hotkey, I'm going to sew the fronts to each other and the backs to each other of all of these pattern pieces. Backs to backs, fronts to fronts. And once that's done, we can go over to our 3D window and place these base pants on our avatar. Turning on the arrangement points, so there's a little person with an eyeball. Show avatar, show arrangement points. So we're turning on the arrangement points. I'm moving this out of the way. And we want to put them on our avatar. So I'm going to place them on him in the front. So I'm selecting the front pants, selecting one of the front arrangement points, and then doing the same for the back. And then same for his waistband. Making sure to select the correct waistband, and I'm not crossing any of my patterns. I'll show you what I mean. So we want to make sure when we're placing these things in the 3D window that we are not crossing over any of these sewing lines. Once that is done and it's placed around your avatar, again, the arrangement points are right up here. You've used them before. This is part 3. We are going to go ahead and hit simulate or the space bar. So I'm going to hit normal. We are not touching GPU at all. Don't touch GPU. Normal, default simulation. So you can click it once and place it on your avatar. All right, cool. It looks like 31 was pretty good. You'll notice it's a little long on the avatar, just a little bit. We are rolling up that hem. In fact, we are going to go ahead and cut it first before we make any other changes, because we are going to freeze this. So we do want to have a rolled hem. And to do that, we are going to do some offsets. My examples for myself. So we're going to do 2 different offsets, selecting our hem of our pants. Right click. Oh, sorry. For those of you who are new, it's your first day here seeing this stream, hold shift and select to select multiple lines. So select your hem lines, right click, offset as internal line, and we have options here. So we're all working in millimeters. So for this first roll, this is going to be a slightly smaller. This is the interior roll. We're going to do 20 millimeters. I'm going to select OK. And then I'm going to do it a second time. You don't have to do it this way once you're actually doing this, but it's easier for some people to visualize it in this way. Then we are going to do a slightly larger one to account for a little bit of rolling over. So same thing, offset. Instead of 20, we're going to do 30 millimeters. Make sure it's reverse direction, so it's going into the pant, and that you choose extend. Even though we've chosen extend, we're selecting all of those internal lines next, holding shift, or you can kind of drag and highlight as best you can. Right click, extend and trim to pattern outline. So we now have 2 lines on our pant. We're not even designing the pant yet, but because of how this is going to lay, it is going to be a little bit easier to fold these over while it's still a kind of a straight pant. We're going to curve this pant. So selecting all of those lines, we're going to right click and choose cut and sew. And because they're all symmetrically linked, doing one thing on one side will apply it to the other side. So now we've just got a whole bunch of chopped up pants here. So this is visually how we're going to be doing this. You don't do this with me right now, but I'm just showing you. So how we're folding pants up is you're folding up one row like this, and then you end up folding up this other row. But as you can see with this tool, I'll cover this again. You can see with this tool, it causes us a little bit of a problem. That's okay. We'll go past it. So just keep in mind that's how we're going to do this. A lot of you are visual learners, so we're going to kind of cover this first. Let's go back down. Okay. You do not need to see my sewing lengths. This offset is 20 millimeters here, and this offset is 30 millimeters. So once you've cut your avatar, pants off, just on the bottom. Again, 30. This one's 30. I'm only going to select one. Them like this. So total is 50. Top one's 30. Bottom one's 20. Honestly, bottom one's slightly smaller than the bigger one. If it's not exactly those measurements, you don't have to be perfect. So long as they're similar, you'll be fine. So long as the smaller one that's going to be tucked inside is going to be smaller, then you're fine. So the tool that you saw me use was the fold arrangement tool. It is in the 3D window, and you can select it. And as you saw, it gives you a gizmo to rotate your pattern. Now, some of you, it can be confusing to a lot of you, so we're going to do it a little easier. It sounds weird. It'll be okay. I promise. We're taking all of this lower hem, so it's going to be the interior piece. We're selecting all of that. We're going to deactivate this pattern. And we're not only deactivating it, we're going to deactivate pattern and sewing. This way it will be relatively more stable than doing it manually by hand and seeing a bunch of problems. So we're deactivating this. By deactivating it, it's there in the scene, but it's not going to be calculated. So once you have deactivated one of your portions of your pants, we can select the hem of our pant, the last piece that we cut off, and then this time we will use the fold arrangement tool on this piece. It will also help to stabilize it with strengthening, but we're going to do that a little bit later. Let me move this so you can see it. So again, using the fold arrangement tool, selecting that line, and make sure to select the one, I'm choosing the red one, whichever one is making it fold upward. Once you do that, you will notice the fold angle here on the property editor changes. So this is the sewing relationship fold angle. We can just make that 360, so it's perfectly flat. You can do this to all of your lines here. So 321, I'll just make it 360. And to make this a little bit easier, we're also going to select our pants, holding Shift, select all of them, and hit Control H. It's also right-click, strengthen right here. It shows unstrengthened, but it's strengthen. And once you've done that, we're going to hit the spacebar or the simulate button. So we're almost there. We've now rolled up our pants. It looks funny. It's okay. So the reason we've done it this way is that this exterior fold is now going to hold it in place, the interior fold. So we get that folded look. To make this stable and to make sure that we don't lose this, we're going to freeze this. So select your hem now that you've turned it up. Right click. And we're going to choose freeze. Your pants should, just the pant hem here, your rolled up hem should turn blue and the darker blue. We're going to leave this interior pant activated, but we are going to remove the strengthening from this pant. So right click, unstrengthen. And I'm gonna wait a little bit so you guys can catch up if you're following along. So again, we've only moved the larger hem and we've deactivated sewing and simulation the smaller piece of this hem. It doesn't have to be exact, which is why I am not showing you my line lengths. We're not going to spend a lot of time having everyone be very specific about line lengths today. So long as this piece is larger than the piece that is going inside of it, we'll be fine. And that's also why this lower piece, or the first portion, is slightly smaller, is because it does need to go inside of this pant, and then we need to accommodate for the turn of that cloth, and this also having to exist in between two different other pieces. So having it be slightly smaller is why we're doing this. Okay. Once you have turned up your pant hem, we can now activate, turn off simulation. Don't simulate it. We frozen it in place, but just in case. We're activating our pant hem here. So activate. And we're going to choose right click, superimpose over. So with superimpose over, it places it right inside. You can do this manually if you really wanted, but it's a little bit of a challenge, and I only have 2 hours, an hour and a half now. So we're doing it a little bit the easy way. So here's where you can check your work. We've frozen this. Here's where you can simulate and check. Sometimes you'll encounter this. That's okay. So make sure you just hit Control Z, superimpose over, Shift Q to hide your pattern, and you can kind of check what's going on. Mostly what is actually occurring is that these pieces are too high of a particle distance. So to fix that, we're going to make this entire lower piece, instead of 20 particle distance, we're going to try 15. And let me check the direction of my normals. Negative. Okay. And just for now with these pants, select just your pant legs. If you're having trouble, you can also use this method. I haven't touched on layers yet unless you saw the previous stream. We're going to touch layers, so select all of these, and you're going to make your layer -1 for these pants. If you're struggling and you're having problems with your pants, you can make them a lower layer. In fact, I'm making all of my rolled hem here 15 particle distance. And you'll see it. I am missing something, but I'm doing this on purpose. So you can see it's popping up. Some people want that, some people don't. But we can see with it being -1, we do have our pant leg, like it's almost there. We can see. I'm sure some of you can guess what I have not done. And I'm Control-Zing all the way back. What I haven't done was I have not changed the angle of my sewing or the fold angle for my pant on the interior line. So for this inner piece, which these two connect to each other with, I still have a fold angle that is straight. So my fold angle is 180. I can make that 360. It's still mad, that's okay. It's because there's a lot of space in here. So what I did just do, and you saw me do, I used Control H again to strengthen, and it also strengthens fold lines. So Control H for all of my pieces. And it's simulating, and we can see here that it is flat. Now that I've done that, I can unfreeze my pant. If you want to be safe, you can Control H to strengthen, and there is your pant cuff with the fold. And that's why it's slightly smaller for the inside piece, because collision thickness and also turn of cloth, it depends on the thickness of the fabric you choose, so on and so forth. But we just did that first. That is how you can quickly make a turned cuff. We're going to move this out of our way because we're about to do a bunch of stuff to our pant pattern itself. Once you have done this, use Control K or right-click freeze to freeze that hem. We are going to most likely break this if we don't do that, because we are about to add a bunch of wrinkles and details to our pant. I hope for those of you who are following along, this makes sense. Just tried to move on my window on OBS and not on my screen. I'll give you guys a second. Next, we're moving on to the pant because we do need to add like design lines such as pockets, the back yoke, things like that. Why is that pointing upward? That's weird. That must be a pant pattern problem. Whatever. Clean up your pant just in case. I don't normally encourage you to have a little point there. I am gonna pull that down. And then pull his pants on and past his underwear. Okay. There we go. They're pretty low-rise pants. So for his pants, we do need to add, we're doing some jeans. They're not really going to be seen, so you don't have to, but we'll add a yoke. There's that V that generally goes in the back of these pants. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of make that. You can eyeball it if you want, but I can also just choose, like, we'll just choose about 40 millimeters. So I'm right-clicking, right-click, split, or you can use the X hotkey. You can choose split by length, split into 2 lines. And I'm just going to choose the 40 millimeters. Okay. And then I know this is going to be a little bit less, so I'll show you with the add point. So long as it's not 40, just make it a little less. We'll do this one as 30. So I used the split line tool 40 and 30. And then I'm just going to draw a line in between them using the internal polygon tools, or the G hotkey. And I'm hitting enter to finish that line. And then I'm going to curve it a bit. So it depends on what you want to do. I can also fuss with it more. Like, I don't like how it's going up. Holding D, I can move my line just along the line instead of affecting the whole pattern. Holding D again, you can see me doing this. And then making sure it's going down like that. You can kind of see it. You're not even going to see these under the shirt. But we'll just put it in here for those of you who might want to know how to do denim pants. So I'm choosing cut and sew, and there's our yoke. And then we will add our back pockets. These you will see. So we're going to use the internal polygon tool again. We'll make it easy for you. We're going to use the internal rectangle tool. So just draw a square. Use your edit pattern tool, or the Z hotkey, and we're going to split this lower line. Right click, split, uniform split down the center. Okay. And we're making that classic denim pocket. So holding shift to select these segment points. I can move them. I can make them dance. Holding shift to slide them upwards, and you can just kind of create your pocket shape. Now on the back, it's not exactly the angle that we always wanted in. So we are going to use the transform pattern tool, and we can select this internal line, move it around, and also rotate it. You can make it perfectly up and down on the back, slightly angled. In this case, it's up to you. I'm kind of making it match this curve shape. It's a little low. Let me see. It's a little low, so I'm just going to move this upward. There we go. And make sure to simulate. And once you have done that, you've placed your pocket. Right click your internal shape, and you can choose clone as pattern. And I'm just going to place it in my workspace. And then here I can sew my pocket onto my pants. So using the M hotkey, which is the free sewing tool, free sewing, I can just sew everything except for the top into place onto the pocket. And much like we've done before, I can right click this pocket in the 3D space. You guys saw me use superimpose over for rolling the hem of the pant. We're going to choose superimpose over for placing the pocket onto his pants. And we're only doing the one for now. And then hitting spacebar to simulate, make sure it's on, looks good. Because everything is symmetrically linked, I really only have to work on the half for now. And let's see. We're not going to do any of that yet. So we're just doing our simple basic blocks, and then we're going to start messing around with these pants and making them really wrinkly. So I'm going to hit Control D, and I am going to place the pockets on the corresponding pants. All right, now is where it's going to get a little crazy, specifically in simulation. So everything up here, the pockets, the waistband, and the yoke, I'm going to want you to freeze. So right click, freeze, or hit Control K. These are going to help us. Explain the mirror tool. I am not going to explain the mirror tool. We aren't using the mirror tool right now. We are just covering Control C and Control D. If you want the mirror tool explained, you can follow our quick start video for that. Right now we're making pants. Okay, so for these pants, you saw pictures of those pants. These pants are going to be severely edited, so we only have wrinkles on the exterior of the leg, but not the interior of the leg. And to do that, we are going to need to add length to only the exterior and not the interior. To do that, we are going to use the slash and spread tool. But before we do need to specifically select where these alterations are going to occur. So you saw me using the split tool. We're going to use the split tool again, the split line tool. We're going to choose uniform split. And just on the side, we're going to do the same to the both of them. We're going to do, we have some time. We're going to do 7 segments on the side of the leg. So 7, split, uniform split, 7. Okay. And we're going to do 7 on the interior of the leg as well. I want to say 7 will be fine. Yeah, 7 will be fine. We might want to do more, but we're going to find out. Let me see. Yeah, 7 should be fine. It's going to be a little crazy. So the reason these pieces are frozen is because we are about to completely curve these pants and not make them straight anymore. So we are using this tool. Let me pop it out. Come here. We're using the slash and spread tool for this. So you've already traced your pant. We know this fits. We're ready to go. We're doing slash and spread. You know what? Actually, we do. I'm going to... We'll stick with the 7, and then I'll probably do more after. So slash and spread. There is no hotkey for the slash and spread tool. It is under the edit pattern tools, slash and spread. Remember, whatever measurement you do to the front, you're going to need to do it to the back as well. So selecting, making sure I'm not crazy. Okay. Selecting the interior of the leg. This is the line that we're not changing the length of. We are going to select the exterior of the leg, so that side seam. And then we're going to grab the lower portion of the hem, and we can move it and hinge it. So we're going to be consistent about this. So choosing right click, you can edit, you can choose your distance and you can choose your angle. So we can do 20 degrees. We'll do 20-degree angles just for the sake of it. And we are going to need to clean up our pattern after this. So doing the same thing to the front and the back. So 20 degrees. Okay. This looks crazy. I know. And as we're doing it, you're going to simulate, which is why we've frozen everything. Because it will help with the fit as you're working. We can see here, there's only volume added to this left side. We're going to clean it up. That's okay. It looks crazy. So again, choosing the next one up, 20 degrees. Okay. $20 degrees. Okay. We're going to clean all of this up, but it's helping with what we're doing. And the reason we're simulating in between each one is so that we get a pretty stable simulation and we're not trying to throw a curve on a straight line. It can be quite difficult if you do that with slash and spread on your avatar. So we're avoiding it by doing simulation in between. So again, 20 degrees, front and back. Oops. Yep. Left click, 20 degrees. Okay. So we're stair-stepping this to make it easier on all of us. Again, inner line, exterior line, right click 20 degrees. We're going to have to do a lot of cleanup on these pants, but that is okay. And this is also why we're simulating in between. Otherwise, we would have this entire curve on his leg and just struggling with that. Again, this is 20 particle distance, so it's pretty open. So I'm just grabbing it, as you can see, and pulling. There's another way to do this, which we can do. But if pulling's working for you, awesome. If it's not, go up to the Select Mesh and Pin tools and select the Select Mesh box. I'm choosing it in the 3D window, and I'm looking for where that collision is with his leg. And I can pull it out while simulating. Don't need that anymore for now. Oops, come here. Leg. Okay. Only 2 more to go with the slash and spread, and then we're going to clean it up. Inner leg, outer leg. When we're this close to the hip, we can go the other direction. So instead of selecting the lower piece, we'll select the upper one, right click, and again, 20 degrees. It's fine. It looks so funny. 20 degrees again, front and back. Simulate, and this is why we froze it. This is why we froze the hem. And last one. Right click, 20 degrees. Okay. This one, right click, 20 degrees. And this is why things are frozen. And this is also -1 layer. We can do another pant here, or you can do less than 20 degrees if you don't like it there. I'm probably gonna do. I don't want to cut across my internal line, so it's fine. We're gonna leave it as it is. Make sure that you simulated. We have the coolest pants in the world. There are actually some pants that are like this, which are neat. We're gonna clean this up. It looks really funny. But we haven't changed the interior length, but we haven't changed the exterior length. And this needs to be cleaned up. So let's go ahead and do so. So I'm just deleting all of that added extra volume that was added by us manipulating this. If you like the volume, you can totally keep it. If you don't, then you don't have to. After me, deleting that, we do get a much more familiar pant. We have only wrinkles on the exterior, and we have no wrinkles on the interior. Now we do have still those segment points, and it's all straight lines, so let's go ahead and fix that. Holding Shift and the Z Edit Pattern tool, select those segment points, right click, and choose Convert to Curve Point. And we'll do that to the interior of the pant as well. This is the one that's going to need the cleanup with the curve points. So clean it up so it's nice and smooth. That's all that really matters, is your line is relatively smooth. and simulating. And there's our pant. We have wrinkles only on one exterior side, and we have straight line on the interior. It looks funny because this is still 20 particle distance. And I also wanted to add a pocket. So let's go ahead and finish up our design here. So it looks crazy. It looks so funny when I'm having to do this. So we do want to add, like, that denim pocket. So let's go ahead and use the internal polygon line tool, and we'll just draw our denim pocket. Let me make sure I can see things. Okay. So we need to draw our denim pocket, and then we're also going to fake the denim stitching. So from about middle of the front, a little angled using the curve control options. Let's see. I just hit the 10 key. Don't hit the 10 key. All right. There's the start of that pocket. I do think it should be a little lower. Make your pocket how you think it looks, how you think it should look. And we're going to leave it like that for now, because we are going to do the rest of our design lines. So similarly with, I guess we're looking on the left side. Similarly with these pants, we do also have the fly that's zipped into the pant. I do have that segment point here. It's going to come in handy. We're going to basically copy this J shape, and we're going to make another J shape. So you can choose to offset your line if you want. I'm just going to go ahead and make it a relatively straight line. Come here. Internal polygon tool. And make it as parallel as you can. And then a segment point higher than where it is on the actual pattern. And then you can make your curve point. I'll do it again. Zoom in. So you can do a segment point and then your curve points. Enter to finish. And here I'll do a little bit of cleanup. I want it to look like a J. That looks pretty close. It's a little far out for him. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab this line and pull it back in. So here's where that line would be. And you want it to be perfectly straight and in line with this front line, because that is going to determine the shape and angle of this line. As best you can. I think that looks relatively okay. And I'm going to choose Extend and Trim to Pattern Outline after right-clicking. And just to clean this up, I'm going to use the Smooth Curve tool and select this segment point, and then just clean it up just a little bit. Now it's a smooth J. Grab my pattern. How much time do we have? Trying to decide if we want to do pockets. We'll fake a pocket. We're going to fake the pocket. For some of you, the pockets can be a little bit chaotic. But here's how we can fake it. We're not going to do 2-layer pockets. We're not going to fully sew the pocket. We'll just have that pocket flap. So all we're going to do is make sure that the pocket that we have made is touching the edge of our pattern. Right-click, Extend and Trim to Pattern Outline. And then we're going to choose right-click, Cut and Sew. So now we have that little dip. We have that sewing line. We're not going to need it in a minute, but we are going to fake this by offsetting this line and making a little facing, like a little fake one. So right click, offset as internal line, undo reverse direction, and we're going to do 12. We'll do 12.5 millimeters. Okay. And then we are going to use the trace tool to trace this and copy this as a pattern. So the trace tool is under the edit pattern tools. It's the very bottom one. It's also the I hotkey. So selecting all of those lines, right clicking and trace as pattern, I get a pattern. So you could cut this out. I didn't want to. Here I will delete that sewing relationship with the B hotkey and just deleting that sewing relationship. I'm going to merge these pieces together. Yes, I'm going to merge these pieces together using the sewing tool and then right click merge. Superimpose under. Give it a simulate for a second. Come here. Still layer -1. That's okay. And then I'm just going to go ahead and sew this piece to the layer to the internal line and simulate. Now I've got my pocket-ish. I do need to sew this little excess piece. To the side. It's still the same layer as the pants, so I'm choosing layer -2. Come here. And specifically selecting this sewing line. There's my 3D seam line. My intensity is going to be like -7. Or we'll just make it 0 and then also 0. So you can't actually see that it's there, but it is sewn. So now I do have my little pocket. Oh, this last piece too. You can create a whole pocket bag if you wanted, but this is a good way to fake it. I will do one more thing to make this a little bit more stable. We're going to trace this one more time. And I'm going to give it a facing. You don't have to do this. Trace this pattern. But it does give it a little bit more stability when you're cleaning it up too. So again, right click, superimpose under. So now I do have my edge and I can flip my normal in 3D. Right click. Where are you? Flip normal. And then layer -1, enter. And then superimpose under. It's small and it's a very still 20 particle distance pattern piece. So if you're experiencing this, that's fine. We'll bring this down to 15 and just keep stair-stepping it till you need it to actually get there. Under. Fine. At this point, if you are doing this specifically, I would make both pieces at least 15, if not less. I'm going to make this one 10. And then under. Oh, 10. There we go. There we go. We can see that it is bagging out a little bit, a little popping out. If you don't want that, you can just apply elastic to that line. I'm just going to select the line. So we can apply elastic to this line, not 80%, but like 98%. Superimpose under. It's mad because I faked it. That's okay though. In fact, I want to make this a little less. 99. There we go. And it helps us out just a little bit. So if you've chosen this option, come here, you. I'm going to keep it at 0 for now. I'll stabilize it in a minute. If you've chosen to do it this way, make sure to Control-C, Control-D, and apply it to the other piece. And then because there's elastic, that's what's happening with this. Control-K. I'm unfreezing these just to stabilize this. It's a little angry about it. Why are you so angry? Me doing the thing that wasn't actually in the thing, causing more problems. Under. What is going on with my sewing? Either way, it's going to get covered, so it doesn't matter. And if you don't do this, you don't have to. It's just if you really wanted to do it the fake way. This one's stable. Why are you being a brat? Deactivate pattern and sewing. Okay, it's you. Why? Something twisted my sewing, and I'm trying to figure out what it is. Ah. Oh, wait. That would explain why. There we go. Like, why do I have 2 packets? There we are. That's very strange. Oh, it's because I made a mistake. All right. Don't make, like, when you do 2 pockets, don't copy them. Okay. So, we've made our fake little pant pocket. It's great. It's perfect. It's everything we've dreamed of. We have our wrinkly pants. They look cool. Let's go ahead. No questions in the chat right now. Let's see. Let me check. So I went off script for that pocket. So let's go ahead and do all of our top stitching next. Turn off simulation. And this needs to go underneath. Superimpose under again. Layer 0. Control A, make everything layer 0 as well. This does need to go back to being layer. These pockets popped out. They need to be layer -1 if you did this. It's okay if you didn't. I'm just going to go ahead and delete the sewing for me, just for the sake of this. You can stabilize this. It's just not happening right now. under. And what I will do instead is sew this piece to this piece. And then I'm going to make this pants with the direction. You know what? You know what? We're going to flip these normals back. Flip normal. That's fine. You were causing more problems than you're meant to. There you go. And then B. Where are you sewing to? You weren't sewing into anything. You sewing into anything? You are. You are not. Come here. And then these pants are going to be, just these front pieces are going to be layer 1. Because the direction of layers is based on the direction of the normals, so I've forced it to work. It's not listening because of my fold angle. But now it's fine. So if you didn't do that, you didn't have to worry about that at all. Next, we are doing our top stitching. So you guys saw top stitching before. We're going to do the fabric top stitch. Let's give him some fabric. Actually, we can apply top stitching, but we'll just drag and drop it for now. We're going to do top stitching on segment top stitch. So we're going to do it on the pant pocket, on the front leg, front and like the two sides. You can't really see it right now, but that's fine. We will apply our contrast in a minute. And then keep in with the segments, apply it to all of your pockets. They'll all be the same, so it'll be fine. And then we'll also place them, you can place them on the waistband, top and bottom. You're not going to see it, so that's kind of why the waistband's a little bit pointless. And then the last one is going to be the free top stitch tool. We're not going to segment top stitch this piece. We are going to free top stitch. And we're going to leave it symmetrical for now. Once you have applied your top stitching, we're going to go back to our library. Where's OBS? And we'll apply our fabric because we're almost done with these pants. I did say denim earlier, so we're going to choose denim, D-E-N-I-M. There's 3 denim options. We have denim raw, stretch, and lightweight. I'm going to choose raw, and I'm just going to place it on my fabric 1 and replace it. And here you can see all of my top stitching. And I don't need my window anymore. Control K, Control K. And we've got the top stitching here. Now it's too close. That's fine. We'll adjust it. But I do like the light top stitching on the black pants. I might make it a gray. But before we do anything else, we do want to make sure that we can see our pants. So I'm going to give these pieces here that's kind of popped up over it while we've been working. They're still there. Make sure they're frozen. Control K, move to select it. I'm going to give these a higher layer value than everything else. These will be layer value 2. While they're still frozen, you can simulate. Kind of pull out your pants. You don't want to let these simulate ever again until the very end of this. For these pieces. So with the denim, we do want to have a contrast back. So most of the time with black denim like this, you're going to see black ink on the front and then a white or a light gray on the back. So we're going to do that here. Control K, Control Shift Control H. So this is what it looks like on the back side. It's slightly darker, just so you know which is the front, which is the flip normal and which isn't. But for now, we do want to change this to being a light color. So going to the fabric options, double clicking. We have our texture mapping. We have front, back, and side. So we can choose back and side. Selecting back. I have use same material as front. Texture options, things like that. I can't select them unless I remove that option of use same material as front. Then I can desaturate my texture, and now it's gray. And now I can give it a color. And adjust like shadow intensity, shadow brightness. I'm just going to give it the white. Turn on this. Let me zoom in here. And here you can play around with this. I can adjust my normal map, intensity, color, white. No, I want color white. You can also do a gray. But this way we can just kind of see the two different colors. Reflection intensity, roughness. You can adjust this as you want. In an actual render, this does look different. Let's see. Shadow brightness. I'm just going to up these pieces. Desaturation is on, backside. Woven, repeat. I can make it metal. But so you can play with the backside. You can also change the color. I'm just going to have it be this lighter gray. That's just what it looks like here in Marvelous Designer. Maybe I don't want it to be lighter gray. You can pick whatever color you want. You could even pick red. I'm going to just choose the white, the cooler white. Literally picks red. Okay. So it is slightly contrast, so we can at least see that it's folded up. That's the whole point. Once we've done that, we can, I'm going to keep this frozen, Control K. I'm going to choose my top stitching. So going to the top stitch options. For those of you in Marvelous Designer 10, you would have the top stitch tab. And here's where we can edit our top stitching. A lot of you have already done this during the previous stream, so you've kind of seen me do this before. Just editing my top stitch offset. We're going to make the offset 0.25. No. That's millimeters. 5 millimeters. Yeah. And I just realized I need to move that. That's fine. And just for funsies, we're going to do the number of lines. We'll do 2 with instead 0 offset, and then the 5. So we've got the double stitching. I do need to edit my top stitch for this front piece. This needs to go away, and then it needs to go on the correct pocket. And then on the side. So we're placing our top stitching now. So place it wherever really that you want. Here's that back of his pant. So we have it on the edge. And then we also have it here. Making sure. Once we are done with that, we are pretty much done with these pants. So let's go ahead and we can start bringing in the rest of these pieces. These pants are pretty much done, basically. We do just need to remove this one side on the left. So this is where we do remove the symmetrical editing. Right click, remove linked editing in this case is the word. And I'm just deleting it from this left screen side. So now I have it on the front. Now is where we're going to place all of the items that we've been working on into our scene. So going to our folders, if you've followed along last time, you would have put a Stream Part 2 folder in here. You don't have to. And here's where we're going to start working on layers. Make sure to select your pants. All of your layers are now going to be 0. They need to be the same layer value. Make sure they're 0. Otherwise, it's going to mess with you. You can leave these lower portions of these pants at 2, but make sure that whatever's going to be interacting with that shirt is going to be a layer value of 0 or lower. I don't know what's layer value 1 right now. Ah, these are -1. 0. Okay. Make sure to select. Okay. Now that this is in our workspace, we can bring in all of our layers. So let's see. Numbers. Which is the newer one? So we're going to bring in our shirts here. Which are you? I think it's this one. I'm adding my blue shirt into the workspace. So add to workspace, make sure you choose add. Load avatar file size? No. He is the same size. Awesome. Which one are you? That's fine. Make sure that you move it out of the way in your 2D window. And you can give that shirt layer value of 1. Anything above your pant. So this is how layers work. And we can simulate. There's my shirt. Now the last thing we want to do is bring in that other shirt. So select your entire shirt again. And we are going to use shrinkage weft percentage. We're making it 80% the size, so it's tight on his body. You'll see here, super tightens. I'm freezing this again, and then I am going to bring in my sweater logo shirt that we made last time. Again, adding to workspace, making sure it's add. Do not load the file size. Don't need to. It's the same avatar. Moving it again. And then making sure this layer is, I'm making it 5. It's above everything below it. Layer value 5. And simulate. So now we've got a whole bunch of layers going on. But it all currently fits. So we're going to reactivate that shirt that we made super tight and bring that up to 100% again. And then hit the spacebar to simulate. It's new size. So it's underneath the shirt, but it is the same size. Someone asked last time if this was what you would do with multiple layers going on in your workspace and export it as such. Probably not, depending on how you want to work and what you're trying to do. I would most likely chop this off, the actual undershirt here, chop this off and attach it to the sewing line here. And same thing with this collar, customize the cut. If you're never going to see what's underneath, you don't need to worry about it too much, but this is how you can layer it and then make that style choice. So I can also lift this. Lift the sweater up, pull it down, get us some wrinkles. So we can see the work that we've put into this. And now everything here, except for these bottom part of the pants, needs to be brought back down to 0 layer. Double check. So bringing everything back down to 0. 0. and then 0, except for these here. They're staying as they are. The level that I just wanna, he's got a little crop sweater. I'm gonna make it a little slightly longer. I just don't know why it's sitting like that. Because it's a graphic, it's connected, so it's fine. I'm just gonna grab these real fast. I don't know why it looks like that. I don't like it. I'm gonna make this layer, this one goes back up to the layer 1. I want it to be slightly longer. There we go. Figure yourself out. Layer 0. Not 10, 0. So here's where you can do a pose. We have time at this end here to do the pose. You can adjust your garment on your avatar if you really want right now. It's all still technically 20 particle distance. And we're not going to put them in the final pose that we're going to pick until, wait, other way around. We're not going to put the particle distance down super far until we've put them in his pose. These are activated. Here's where you're going to check your work. Make sure that you like everything as it is. I've faked my zipper fly here because you don't actually have to have a full functioning zipper if you're not really going to see it. It's up to you. We've got our sweater here. We have a little time, so I'm gonna, where are you? Which one did I pick? Okay, pick this one. If you really want, we can just pull this up his shirt. Play around with the fit and how this is laying on our guy. Normally you wouldn't do that, but you can if you really want. So here's where we're going to do all of our work. You can stop here and then texture bake and export this, and then also you can use retopology. We're not going to be doing that right now. We're just doing super basic. I want to make something in Marvelous Designer, and I've never done it before level of creation. Here's where you can texture bake. You can do all your poses and then get those wrinkles in and then bake those out later. But we're just going to do the pose next. So if we just want that one pose and that's all we're exporting, we're going to select our avatar. If you've already got a pose in, you can, from Mixamo or something like that, or you've already created your own custom pose, you can use that. We are just going to use what is available here. So male version 2, pose. I'm going to pick, the sitting pose just looks so funny. I'm going to pick his running pose. You guys have seen me do this running pose a bunch. This is all at 20 particle distance right now, which is why I can do the running pose now. And it's going to be fast for this stream. So I'm choosing pose only, maintain avatar size. Yes. I did not actually unfreeze those pieces. Yep. Go me. Fine. Control A, Control K. Freeze. Stay there. Go in your pose. All right, question. What other resources would you recommend? For Marvelous Designer, it would be the Discord channel. It's linked in the description of this video. I cannot recommend any Udemy courses whatsoever. I do not recommend any because I have not seen them and they have not gone through our quality checks for accuracy. So unfreeze. Make sure that these are unfrozen. And then Control H. You are activated, right? Okay. These ones I'm actually going to bring down to 10 particle distance. And this is us hoping. This is where it might break. But you already saw how I did it the first time. If it does break, you can do it the same way. All right, we're going to do it. Okay. There we go. I had frozen the pant legs. He's still in 20 particle distance, so it looks really crunchy. But here's where we can stair step that size fit. Size and fit. Okay. We're going to let it simulate for a second, stabilize. Wish we had a better base sitting pose, but it just looks so weird. He's running to his meeting. Okay. And so here's where we can stair step. I know for certain that these pieces are all pretty big. So selecting all of my larger pieces. 15 particle distance, and same with these pants if they aren't already 15. I like this shirt. Yeah, save before it breaks. I mean, I've already saved it. I already have a couple of these. But always save. I also have my auto saves at 3 minutes. But it can also cause you guys some problems if your computers aren't able to do that. So save it. I brought these pieces down to 15, all the big ones, because the small ones are also lower. Let it simulate for a minute. This is okay. We can fix it. Just pull at it. It should stabilize itself. All of these pieces, I'm going to make them 10 now. Because remember, his pant cuff is down to 5. They're down to 10 particle distance. I already saved. Oh, you guys can't see it. Oh, you still can't see it. My file name has changed. It's not going to break, though. Because we're being kind to ourselves and kind to our software. And working in the way that we should work. And we can see we're also getting a lot more of those wrinkles on the side, and they look a lot more natural. Let me close this. It's mad because it's simulating and I'm moving. His shirt went up a little bit on his torso. We're gonna have to fix that. Let's pull this down. There we go. And all of this is 10, so let's make it all 5. And here's where it gets slower, which is why we're doing stair stepping, because then it's less likely to break. Because if I went from 20 to 5, I might get some collision problems, which is why we went 20, 15, 10, 5. And it also let me midway pull that shirt back down because it did slide up on his torso. Click away. Now I still have some layers. You'll see these blue lines here. This is telling me that I still have layers in my scene. And I do need to remove those. If I was to do any animation, I want to take that away. But he's just kind of in his running pose right now. So I don't really need to really worry about it, but best practice is to remove all layers once you're done and once your layers are stabilized. I'm turning off simulation and I will remove these layers. Layer 0. Let's make sure that I've checked this. You can check your work before you do all of this. I'm going to superimpose over again to fix that pant. Yeah, you can see it. It's all 5 particle distance right now, and everything's being calculated. So that's why it's much slower. And that's also why you want to be working at 20 particle distance for the majority of your workflow. And then once you are finally done, you can start stepping it down, or if your pattern pieces are really small. Turning off simulation so we can actually see the stitching. I'm going to hide some of this stuff. Internal lines. Okay. Now you can kind of see it. Just going to hide his hand. I'll just hide him for a second. Oh. Show avatar. So we have our pants here, and all those wrinkles that looked really chunky, they look a lot nicer now. And they look pretty cool. So that's how we can get wrinkles only on one side, by adding length, basically vertically up that leg. But it is something that you need to consider with how much it affects the shape of your pant. I'm also just checking these pieces. Nice. Let's see. Do we want to have it? I like it white, just for the sake of it. You can choose whatever top stitch color you want. Edit top stitch on the front. So it's the default. I think it's still white, but you can do other colors too. You can do gray. You can do shiny. That's my texture. You could do gray. You could also do red. Probably going to make this 0.5. I'm going to make this thicker because I have a little bit of time. Yeah, it's a great effect, but it's a little complex, and that's why we did it this way. And we did it pretty easy. And we did it so that in a way that gave us the most opportunity for success. There we go. Now it's much thicker so you can see it. Ooh. Fabric matte. Let's do fabric shiny. Metal. Oh, that looks silly. Fabric shiny. And then here's where you can do like default gold. Red sometimes looks really good with the black pants. Because the black pants always are going to have that the white fleck. So black jeans are going to have that. And then you can add other stitching, like I can add some more top stitching here with the same stitch. If I just want it on the one side. There we go. And with jeans, your top stitching is always going to be on the front piece. But yeah, so this is how you can get that cool effect with these pants. And it's also kind of what you can do to take a basic pant that does already fit your avatar and then make a change to it. So long as it still fits. You do need to keep that in mind, is if you make some changes to your pattern that it might affect your fit. The way that we did it, it does not, but just keep an eye on it if you've made any mistakes. And then we have our graphic that we did last time. Oh, let me turn on, I'm sorry, thick textured surface. Here's where you can export it and render it if you really wanted, but I'm not going to be doing that. We're staying in Marvelous Designer for this. Let me find, I like these ones a little bit more than the promo images I've made. These ones are far more curvy than the other promo image. I will show you the promo images though, since we have a little bit of time. Rendered. Oh, they better be, oh good. So I used our logo, which is, I didn't give you guys. But you can do different poses like this. This is why I have those poses. Yeah, this one was far less. I like the current one. But here's where you can see, you just need to light it. You can play with the textures a little bit more if you really wanted. You guys have seen some of these during me just throwing them up on the background. but this one has far less. So you can see how much the 20% affected, the 20-degree addition affected the fit on this pant. I like this one more. I think it's cooler. I'm glad I did 20%. But that is it. We have a little bit of extra time. Did anyone have any questions or want me to redo something as they were following along? I'm gonna fix this a little bit while I wait for anyone to say that, because it's a 30-second lag. I'm gonna fix this thing. Fabric, you're so light. Yeah, you would clean up this mesh, so you can use retopology. I'm not going to use retopology right now, but you can use the retopology tools here, because you would want to clean this up as much as you want, but you can use the retopology tools. Create topology. I'm not going to fully use them, but here's how you can do this. And then you would export this with your quads. It depends also on the nature of what you're doing. If you need this to be high resolution, you would make very, very dense quads, and you would specifically place them along the edges. If you're exporting this pose, you're going to export it with like as much of the edges as you can, involving your quads. If you were just doing an animation and you wanted to texture bake, you would do it a little differently, but you would texture bake those specific wrinkles. So how do we deal with collision? You kind of saw me deal with it the entire time with the collision. I knew exactly what the result was going to need to be, as well as with your having collision with your avatar during an animation, you also need to take into consideration that you're running with collision thickness and your mesh. And if your avatar is having like their hand come near I'm showing my face, but come near the body, but also like, and it's fine in animation or even colliding with the body, you need to either remove that hand. Let's just say it's the hand that's colliding. You need to remove that hand from your avatar while you're recording that animation, or you're going to need to move the hand away so it doesn't collide, and include where you're include enough space for that fabric to pass through. The best practice is to basically, if the hand is causing the problem, remove the hand or sculpt the hand away. But for a little bit more visual for the animation collision issues, you can take a look at the Posing the Avatar YouTube tutorial video. That's on our YouTube channel that specifically covers a little bit of that. Why you decided to curve the 2D panels on the pants? Can I go over once why I decided I don't want to do that again, but I can explain it. I'm not going to do it again, but let me do, because this is still in the scene. You saw how the pants were perfectly straight up and down. Zero Hero. You saw the pants perfectly straight up and down. Well, it fit, but it didn't have these awesome wrinkles on the side, right? So because it didn't have these awesome wrinkles on the side, we wanted to have those. So to do that, we increased the length of the outside line of his leg. We increased the length of the outside line of the leg so that we would get wrinkles, because this distance is now much longer than it once was. You can see here, just looking at it. Background image. I'm showing you 3100. Oh, 30. 30, 31, 31, 100%. Okay. Okay. So this line length right here is far smaller than this line length. So having wrinkles going up and down vertically, like this, technically vertically, but it's the line length has been increased, you're going to have folds going up and down along this length because of that curve. It's how you can get ruffles, it's how you get wrinkle, it's how you're going to get wrinkles. That is why we did it. And it is the easiest way to engineer your wrinkles is to consider the direction that you want them. You want more wrinkles going horizontally on one side and this side to be pretty straight. Increase the length of this line. But if this line isn't increasing, isn't growing, the only way to do that is through applying a curve to that shape. Because that's what math says. Math is mostly not always wrong. Most of the time. But that's why it's curved like this. So that we get all the wrinkles. Because otherwise, it fit perfectly before. But now, we have our designed pant. It's a lot of technically like fabric waste, but this isn't real, so it's fine. I accidentally just resized this pant. While grabbing it. Don't resize your pant like I just did. There. And you can save this whole thing as a project or a garment. I did not save the pants as a garment. I would save them as a separate garment if you wanted to reuse them for something else. And so yeah, let's see. I don't want to do that. We're going to do something. We only have 10 minutes. There's nothing more I can really do. I could do one other thing. I'm like, no. And then with these shirts, we've already covered patterning this piece to fit your avatar. So if you don't have a custom, if you aren't using this specific base avatar and you want to use a custom avatar, we did cover that in part 1. Part 2, we made these shirts together and we saved them as separate files. And then this time around, we made our pants. And I'm simulating. I don't want to simulate, so I can rotate in space a bit more. And this time around, we made our pants. So if you guys actually are following along, please like tag us on social media so we can see it. I want to see it. Because I want to see what other colorways you guys have done. I picked orange just because I liked it. And so I'll keep an eye out on the art stations and stuff like that. I should probably save this. All right. I didn't save it, but I'm going to save this as pant. Because I like how it's slightly different from the other pant that I made for the promo picture. So as you guys are seeing here, I'm having to step back into my workflow because I have a little bit of time. I didn't save this pant as a separate pattern, and I want to save it with him standing. So I've deleted everything I don't need. I'm going to bring this, make these layer 2 again, and then move them. And then I'm going to make this particle distance of 10. So I want to save this as a separate file because I didn't do that earlier. I saved it. But I want to put him in that A pose. So I've deleted everything I don't need right now, and I've brought up my particle distance while also stabilizing this piece to where it was before. And I'm going to put him back in that A pose. Pose only, okay. So here's also like a good example of the distance between the leg for the wrinkles. Where are you? Oh, I know what's happening. That's okay. It's a little mad about it, but that's okay. Layer 1, just because those pants are still layer 2, the lower portion of the pants. Okay. Turning off my strengthening. My avatar is still hidden. That's fine. But now I can save this as a garment. So file, save as, garment. Stream part 2, stream part 3, pants. With more wrinkles. And now I have this separate asset that I can use for other projects. Instead of just the single project, which is nice to have, but we don't have to. File, open project. Now that I've done that, I'm just going to go back to the open, make sure to add. This is different, so I'm just reopening this because we have a couple more minutes. That only took 4 minutes to restabilize my simulation because of how I just did that workflow. So if you ever have to go backwards, go back the same way you came. Stair step it back up, and then if anything still needs to be layers, you can adjust it as you go. I do have a couple more minutes for the stream. I'm going to change the shoes out while we chat. You guys have any other questions? I can, if the person's still here that wanted to see the mirror creation, I can show you that, but only if you're still here. If you didn't leave. Avatar. Let me give him different shoes. I mean, he has nice shoes, but maybe black shoes? Why are you in the air? Move avatar to ground. Thank you. I liked him better with his white shoes. There we go. Bring him back. Put him back in the scene. There we go. Whee! But that is it for the September streams for the beginner tutorials. Not streams, not tutorials, but beginner streams. Hide avatar so we can see the interior. So again, this has all been done over the 2 hours. How do you make realistic themes that show up in normal maps? I don't know what your question is. You can apply a lot of texturing to them involving puckering. Marvelous Designer doesn't have puckering right now. I don't know specifically what you're asking about. But you can apply... if you want to include texture specifically along those edges. Let me do this. You can use a texture map along the edge and apply what is called kind of like drag lines. Clo has it. I don't know if we will have it. But it's basically just applying a normal map of just some wrinkles on the edges. There will, of course, be more streams in October, but these are the special new streams for new users. These are the themed streams that are parts 1, 2, and 3. We don't normally do parts anymore just because, as you guys have seen, there were normally more people in the very beginning, and then we end up losing more and more people because the more we end up doing, the more it becomes difficult for them to follow along with. So they have to compound the information that they're learning. Which is why we haven't done, we don't normally do 3-part streams anymore. Yeah, I would probably do something like that. You can sculpt a little bit in Marvelous Designer once you're done. But if you want that level of density, on the seam only, it requires a lot. These are also not, yeah, it's not even here. It would honestly be applying textures. Just got here at the end. Absolutely not. You can replay this video. Let me do it in 3 minutes for you. You can replay the video. But yeah, if you really, really want those textures, I would sculpt them out afterwards because this is getting you those specifically like accurate real life stitching. The only thing it doesn't have is the super, super fine, tiny drag lines that occur when people aren't sewing things correctly specifically. Make seams with internal. Yeah, you can. I mean, I've just hidden the internal lines here for the final. Here, I've actually done it. Yeah, so we have the internal line here. Let me do... We have a little bit of time left, so where is it? Yeah, we did this last time. Oh, that's what I ended up moving. That's not good. I know I messed up. I know I touched this, but I wondered what I touched. Okay, go there. Top stitching. Edit top stitching. Select. You can also adjust your top stitching too. So you can actually see here that it's along that internal line. And then where's my top stitch? I select this one. Which are you? You have all these options for your top stitching. So this is along that line. I can also do 3D. So it does have a little, it does actually apply a bit of a normal map here for the dip where it stitches in. It's not too much on here just because it's not very thick. This is also not the correct seam, correct density because this is 20 particle distance. But yeah, it depends also on what you mean by realistic seam lines. This is realistic to me. I sew for real life too. It's realistic. But if you want to have wrinkles on the edge to show that you sewed it wrong, then you're going to need to apply those wrinkles. But yeah, hopefully I can see some of you guys post a finished look here with the pants and the shirt and everything. But that is it for this stream. It is now the 2-hour mark. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope to see posts, so you guys better post it somewhere. I will find you. I will find it. I want to see it. But that is it for the beginner streams. We will do other streams in October. As we always do, we normally stream every other Wednesday. We'll see how often we can stream. We don't normally stream every Wednesday, but we will go back to our normal stream schedule in October. And thank you guys for joining us. And don't forget to join the Discord if you have other like support type questions or if you have other questions on how to make stuff. Where to post? Anywhere. Social media. Don't like Instagram, Twitter, ArtStation, Facebook, I guess. Facebook, I don't see a lot of tags on Facebook often. Where to post? Like Twitter. Most people end up using Twitter and ArtStation because we see some of the stuff that's posted on ArtStation. Sometimes I comment. You didn't watch? Cool. Oh, you don't know the rules about we don't talk about people's appearances on this channel. But you can rewatch the whole stream. Unfortunately, you did come in at the late end of the stream, and then you can learn how to make these pants and put this all together. But you can also watch from part 1, Quinn. So thank you guys again for joining us. I will see you guys on the Discord channel. I am on there the most often, and sometimes I am also on the Twitters. But thank you guys for joining us. We will return to our normal stream schedule this next